Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coast News. And as always, we've got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight, the highest point on Falcon's flight is now being constructed at Six Flags Qiddiya. And this is a historic moment in theme park history, for it's now taking the record for the tallest roller coaster in the world. And it's always, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, Falcon's Flight is a brand new roller coaster that's opening as part of the brand new Six Flags Qiddiya theme park located near Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, the park is going to be home to many different immersively themed attractions, many record breakers as well, including the Sirocco Tower, which is the world's tallest drop tower, Iron Rattler, which is going to be the world's tallest tilt coaster. It's going to be a new generation for common tilt coaster, but the main highlight, standout attraction of this whole park is going to be Falcon's Flight, which is going to be the world's tallest, fastest, and longest roller coaster. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Obviously, we all know at the moment the height, speed, and length record is actually held by 3 consecutive roller coasters at the moment, but they've all got the individual record. King the Car at Six Flags Great Adventure holds the record for the world's tallest. Formula Rosa at Ferrari World holds the record for the world's fastest roller coaster, and Steel Dragon 2000 holds the record for the world's longest roller coaster. Falcon's Flight is going to take all 3 of these records and put them into one ride, and that is just absolutely mind-blowing. And it's going to absolutely smash the height record. King of the Car is currently 456 foot tall. This is going to be 640 foot tall. It's nearly 200 foot taller than King of the Car. But obviously the highest point, they're kind of cheating sort of, because the highest point on the ride is on like a cliffside. But even if that doesn't count as the tallest part of the ride, the gigantic airtime hill that follows the drop on the ride is about 520 foot tall. So that's still going to take the record for the world's tallest coaster anyway. It's absolutely mind-blowing. The airtime hill, the giant airtime hill, has been slowly but surely rising up from the ground for the past few months. And recently, like within the past few days, they have started building the highest point on the ride, on the cliff side. It's going to overlook the whole park. It's probably going to be the most terrifying part of the ride, actually. Do you know, obviously, with all the height and the speed records, like it's going to be going over 156 miles an hour. And yet, the scariest part will be just before the actual 600 foot drop of the edge of the cliff, where you're sort of like looking over the edge of the cliff and out onto the desert and over the park. It's going to be absolutely, it's going to be like nothing else on the planet, honestly. It's going to be so amazing, and hopefully it'll be opening next year, as I've heard. And I cannot wait to see Falcon's Flight officially open. In other news today, and obviously you've been following latest updates on Hyperia, you will have heard about this. Thorpe Park have confirmed that Hyperia is now unable to open on the 8th of June this year. And this is honestly really devastating how this ride has just been closed this whole time. If you don't want to talk about, basically, Hyperia is a brand new Mack Ride type coaster that opened at Thorpe Park on the 24th of May 2024. So literally only about 2 weeks ago. Probably not even that, probably like a week ago or something. No, it was 2 weeks ago, I think. Either 1 or 2 weeks, I've lost count. But opened very recently, and obviously it took the record for the UK's tallest and fastest coaster, and everyone that actually got to go on it on both the opening day and the press preview night, literally the day before, the 23rd, the majority of people have said it is the best roller coaster in the UK. Literally, it tops apparently every other roller coaster in this country. Better than some of the main sort of contenders for top spots, and things like Nemesis Reborn, the Smiler, Icon, and other attractions as well. Apparently this is the best in the country. And it looks awesome. The ride layout looks absolutely stunning. Obviously the actual area itself, even though there's not like much theming around the area, the stylization looks nice, although the actual ride area could do with a bit more landscaping because it looks like a construction site. But other than that, the ride looks phenomenal. Now, obviously, as you will have heard, it has been closed since the 24th of May. So the ride officially has only operated for 1 day. Or only operated letting people from the public onto the ride for literally 1 day. But obviously, as we all know, Hyperia operated for well over 14 hours on the 24th of May. It operated well past midnight, so obviously, and plus it's a brand new coaster as well, so it's going to have teething problems. But originally it was only supposed to be closed just for the 25th of May and would reopen on 26th. Then its reopening got delayed till the 30th of May. Then the 8th of June, which would have been tomorrow, this Saturday at the time of recording. And now they have no idea when it's going to reopen. Although they have stated that testing will actually commence soon on the ride. So it's a good sign that the reopening of Hyperia could be sooner rather than later, like maybe next weekend, realistically. I mean, we don't actually know officially what the problem is in the ride, but many people have guessed it's something to do with the motor at the top of the lift hill, because they've had a massive crane next to Saw, which they've had to close for a couple of days, reaching up to the lift hill, putting like an unknown metal thing at the top of the lift hill. Nobody knows what it is. But it's sad to see Hyperia's closed, but at the same time, it shouldn't be long until it reopens and we can all get back on it and find our Fearless on Hyperia. Also in the news today, Alton Towers are now selling small track pieces of the original Nemesis. And this is actually really good, but obviously, because it's a limited edition sale that they're having, it's just sold out very quick. But if you know what I'm talking about, basically, Nemesis is a B&M inverter coaster that opened originally at Alton Towers in 1994. It is obviously Europe's first inverter coaster, and is one of the best roller coasters in the UK, without a doubt. And obviously, it operated for 28 years in its original state as just Nemesis. Then they closed it at the end of 2022 to go through an 18-month refurbishment, where they replaced all the track, added new theming, new special effects, basically upgraded the ride. And it reopened in March of this year as Nemesis Reborn, and it is on a whole nother level, honestly. Yeah, it is so amazing, this ride. The theming around it has definitely improved. The station now looks awesome with that eye and the teeth on the front of it. The only thing that I'd say has been a downgrade is probably the rattle on one of the trains. And that apparently, from what I've heard, there's only like one brand new train on that ride that's actually brand new, and the other's an old train from the ride that's been refurbished. And they're saying it's on that train, the old train, is where the rattle is. So it's a shame that it's got that rattle now, but hopefully they can fix it at some point. But obviously, this ride's return has been long anticipated for a while. And obviously, because it's had its retrack, you'd thought that all the original track would have been sort of disposed of, destroyed, sent to the scrapyard. And most of it actually has. However, there are actually a few pieces of track that Alton Towers have been storing behind the scenes somewhere. That they've taken like the rails on the track, cut them into tiny little pieces. They've basically done like what the more like Blackpool Pleasure Beach is doing with the big one's old track from, because obviously the big one is having like seasonal retracks of certain sections of the ride, and they're selling parts of little tiny pieces of rail from the old track for a small fortune. Alton Towers has decided to do that, but with all the original Nemesis track. Except not all of it, probably maybe a small percentage of it. Because obviously there was, I think, 716 metres of track originally, and most of that is gone. But this Alton Towers have kept some of it and decided to sell it. They started selling it today, and literally within 2 minutes, it was all sold out. If you want to know how much the track actually was, I think it was about £350. So it definitely wasn't cheap, but it sold out within 2 minutes. So if you happen to have an original piece of Nemesis, you are so lucky. If you were on Alton Towers' website purchasing one of those pieces of track within those 120 seconds of actually being sold, you must be so proud of yourself, and I'm so glad that you've got one. But obviously, it's good that Alton Towers have done this, and it's obviously a good way to keep a history of the UK theme park industry in your own home, which is really amazing. And finally, in the news today, Drayton Manor have released a brand new teaser for their new Intamin family lift and launch coaster. Now, usually at this point in the season, most new rides would have already opened for the season, but Drayton is sort of playing the long game with this one. If you know what I'm talking about, basically, this brand new roller coaster that's opening at Drayton Manor is a family lift and launch coaster built by Swiss manufacturer Intamin. It is part of the brand new area known as Frontier Falls, and is scheduled to open this year, although it's already sort of beginning of June, and it still hasn't opened. Although we are getting closer though. Now, obviously, vertical construction only started in January this year, and it was completed about 4 weeks later. Literally, this ride absolutely flew up. Like, it was the vertical construction was done like literally 2 months before the park reopened. Obviously, they've been doing up the whole like sort of area that it's in as well, theming it like a western theme. They've done up all the Drunken Barrels ride, which is now called Blasting Barrels. And they've also done up stuff around the other attractions as well, like so. And they've also hinted at a retheme for Accelerator because that's in the same area. The Haunting, which is obviously the Vekoma Madhouse in that area, has not been rethemed, but I think it's got a new entrance portal. And so obviously, it's just part of a sort of a package deal with this ride being the final stage of that area. Brand new roller coaster. Drayton Manor's first brand new roller coaster, I think about 12 or 13 years, the last one being Accelerator. So it's good they're investing in the new roller coaster, but it's taken them a while for them to open it. Like I said before, vertical construction pretty much finished at like end of January, beginning of February. And they've obviously done like all the theming around the area, the station, which is absolutely huge. And they've been doing like slow sort of like pull testing of the track, like the train along the track. And it was only like last week they actually started actual normal full circuit testing of the ride's train. So the ride is testing now. And obviously Drayton released a teaser for it. And then literally earlier today, I think, they released a new teaser which shows a cowboy grabbing a piece of gold from the ground, which obviously covers the ride is like a gold colour, and it's rumoured to be themed to gold mines. It's rumoured to be called Gold Rush. And obviously all these teasers are coming out hinting that we could get a ride name very soon. Because obviously we've gone all this time and we still don't know the name of the ride. So hopefully we'll get a name and possibly opening date soon. I don't know, probably like maybe August time by the time this thing opens. Which would usually seem a little bit late for opening new attractions, but at least again it opened this year. So that is it for this week's episode of Coast News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment where you'd like to see in the next video. Goodbye.